toothpick, a tortillon and a wax crayon. Hardly the fancy pastel tools you'd expect, but they turned out to be the key to rescuing this project. This blurry printout is all I had to work from. It's from a bouquet I got for one of my birthdays. I don't know where the original photo or file is, but what I loved about the bouquet wasn't its extravagance, it was its simplicity. One big bold gerbera, some yellow flowers, some greenery, and what I believe is baby's breath. It wasn't flamboyant, but it had a quiet beauty. Since I only had the memory and this fuzzy image, I gave myself permission to add to the story. I'll start with the yellow flower down here. As for material, I'm using a mixture of my inexpensive Crayola pastels and my inexpensive Colour Factory pastels. Nothing fancy. Use what you have. You'll notice in the centers I'm using a stippling effects, dots and tiny marks to build up texture. This is where my first indispensable tool comes in. Pastels are thick and it's hard to get crisp edges. But this, here it is, wax crayon acts as a great precision tool. It's great for blending and creating sharper edges. Here I'm using a yellow wax crayon to blend the edges of my yellow petals. A white wax crayon comes in really handy too, and it's neutral so you can use it on any color. Okay, just for demonstration purposes only, I'm going to show you just how easy it is to get into those small nooks and crannies with a wax crayon. Something that it would be difficult to do with your thicker pastel sticks. You'll find using the wax crayon will keep your edges neat without turning the rest of your drawing to mud. Now, looking back, one of my subscribers once asked about a clear blending material for pan pastels. Well, I'm still on the search for that one, and if I find it, I'll let you know. Let me know if you've ever come across it. Well, in terms of a neutral blending material for oil pastels, you can't go wrong with a white wax crayon. Use it sparingly and mainly on the edges, and you'll get some great results. Let's go back a little. Looking back at my first sketch, I really wrestled with it. I erased, I blended, I layered, I erased, I reworked it and pushed the paper past its limits, almost. It was a challenge, but not a failure. I learned a lot. Mistakes are great teachers, and there's elements that I will probably use in other drawings, such as these fine eraser marks. And I'm thinking about maybe adding, we'll save that for another video. On this one, I decided to go with a more stylized yellow flower. I mean, that's what sketchbooks are for, right? For experimentation. As for this drawing, it is much more controlled and structured. Okay, now for my second reveal tool. And it's this little paper stump, the tortillon. May not look like much, but it's a lifesaver. It lets me push pastels into the paper, blend edges smoothly, and controls transitions without getting my fingers dirty or smudging everything into a, you got it, muddy mess. It's like a tiny pointy brush designed just for pastels. Now, before committing, I tested different patterns for the flower centers. Circles, dots, arcs. It saved me from scratching back and starting all over again. Sometimes those little experiments pay off big. As well as loving to experiment with different kinds of materials and tools, I am definitely one for experimenting with different kinds of papers. This paper that I'm using is a watercolor paper with a bit of texture, and it actually shows through on this drawing. I would have preferred a smoother textured paper, But you know what? Using different materials and different things allows us to find our preferences and what we think works best for us. Just out of curiosity, I took a section of this drawing and executed it on a smoother paper. And you know what? I really like the effect. This paper is an off-white colour and it has a slight grain, but it doesn't have the bumpy nature of the watercolour paper that I'm currently using. It's all learning and experimentation at this time. If you want control, it's important perhaps to sketch a few outlines and colour inside the lines like back in kindergarten. It sounds elementary, pardon the pun, but it definitely helps to keep you focused, and it's easier to create the image that you want if in the beginning you start with a good drawing. Taking my artistic license in hand, I decided to put a pink dahlia in the top right. Now this is where my wax crayons came in really handy. They were great for blending in those fine details, all those nooks and crannies and intricate details that a dahlia definitely has. Now for the center, lots of dots once again. I should actually make a video demonstrating all the different techniques that I'm using and ones that I will probably use in the future. Time to clean up a little before my paper gets really messy with all this residue. It's funny how sometimes the simplest tools can make the biggest difference. And finally, my favorite secret weapon. With pastels, you usually think of a thick, soft material, but with a toothpick, I can carve fine lines for stems, petals, veins, crisp little details that add so much to your drawing. So, from a faded photo, a messy first draft, a few unusual tools, this bouquet came back to life. It's not flamboyant, but it's bright, simple, and it's mine. You don't need perfect references, perfect supplies, or even perfect skills. You need a memory, a feeling, and the willingness to make mistakes and to try again. This piece turned into a story of problem solving and creativity. Not every drawing is perfect, but every drawing teaches us something. Okay, there we go. What do you think? Again, hope you enjoyed this video. Wishing you so much love. Happy creating. Peace.